Right. So, good morning, everyone. Once again, I welcome you for the today's class. So, we will be discussing some important terminology, right? Some important words in machine learning. These terms and important words, we will be using them in the entire course, my dear friends. So, these words are very, very important, and they are little bit confusing also. So, if you don't understand them, please let me know in the chat box, right? So unit one, if you have noticed, we have spent a lot of time. We were very, very slow in moving through the concepts of unit one, because if the fundamentals of machine learning are clear, then you can understand the advanced concepts of machine learning easily. Got the point? That's the reason each and every concept, each and every term, each and every new term, I'm trying to explain you uh, very clearly. And I'm every time I'm prompting, like, you should please inform me if you don't understand anything. That's the reason, right? I hope we are going well in this particular course. So unit one is very, very important, my dear friends. So today's topic, we introduce certain terminology which everyone has to understand, and if you don't understand, please make sure that we don't run through this topic, we don't get into another topic or another unit, right? Fine. So today we will try to understand what is inductive bias. It's very, very important, right? So let me share the screen. Fine. So friends, this is very important statement which is made here. I'm sorry. Yeah. Every machine learning algorithm, every machine learning algorithm with any ability to generalize beyond training data that it sees has some type of inductive bias. Every machine learning algorithm which has ability to generalize beyond the training data, right, will have some sort of inductive bias. So what do you mean by this statement? Let us understand this statement, then we will go for inductive bias. So what we have done in our find S algorithm, what we have done in candidate elimination algorithm, and what we have done in decision tree learning. So if you try to analyze them, we started our unit one with a concept called as concept learning or inductive learning. So friends, what do you mean by inductive learning? We have already discussed it. Once again, I am trying to repeat it. What do you mean by inductive learning? By looking at some training data, you try to generalize. Generalize means you try to create a hypothesis, or you try to come up with a target function, or you try to give a mathematical representation. So just by looking at some training data, very few examples of training data, you try to create a mathematical function or hypothesis, and we assume that this hypothesis should work for all other examples which you have not seen, for example, if you try to recollect the uh, water sport example which we have used in candidate elimination algorithm, right? How many parameters were there which were defining the water sport game, which were defining whether the person will go for water sport or not? There were 6 parameters, and first parameter can take 3 different values: sunny, cloudy, or rainy. Remaining five parameters, they can take two different values. So if you try to find the total possible number of different records which you can get, will be 3 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2, and that calculation we have done. So 5 parameters, it will be 2 power 5 and into 3, right? So if you observe, somewhere around 972 combinations you will get. So in all these 972 cases, what my friend will do, whether he will go for enjoying water sport or not, that I need to decide. But I don't have all 972 records in my training data. Just I have 4 examples. Just I had only 4 examples. If you try to recollect, I had only 4 examples, my dear friends. So from those 4 examples, by applying candidate elimination algorithm, we tried to create a hypothesis, right? So inductive learning is generally used for prediction. So what I do, just by looking at few training examples means you have input as well as output. So if these are the values of 6 parameters, this fellow will go for water sport. In this case, this fellow will not go for water sport. So yes, no, outcome is also available. So for 4 examples, I know the outcome also, whether he will go for water sport or not. Just by looking at 4 examples, I should come up with a hypothesis, right? I should generate a target function which can be applied or which can be used to predict what will happen in the remaining records or in the remaining cases, right? What will be the outcome, whether he will go for water sport or he will not. My hypothesis should predict. So what is happening in inductive learning is we are trying to generalize. Generalization means we are by looking at few training records, we are trying to create a function which can be applied in general to any record, and we assume that our function should work on any kind of record and it should give me proper prediction. So this is what is the meaning of the word generalizing. So every machine learning algorithm with an ability to generalize beyond training data. That is what is the point, right? So beyond training data also my hypothesis should work. So for 4 records I have seen, by looking at 4 records I created a hypothesis, and I'm expecting this hypothesis should work on remaining records. Means for all 972 records also my hypothesis or my target function should be able to predict whether for a given combination of 6 values the person will go for playing water sport or not. I need to predict, right? So my hypothesis should work. That is what is called as generalizing. That is what is called as generalizing. So friends, we can give a mathematical representation, right? I'll just try to write it here, right? Just to represent this definition in the form of math, I'll try to give a mathematical representation. So we are just trying to understand the word generalization. Then we will come back and we will see. Yeah. So let me write here. So friends, please observe this. Let us represent, you can represent any machine learning model like this, x comma y. Now this x represents the training data, what we say, set of instances. So what set of instances x represents set of instances, y represents the outcome, y represents the outcome, or you can say output. So friends, in this in this water sport example, if you try to recollect, we had 6 parameters: sky, air temperature, right? Overcast, windy, humidity, like that we had 6 parameters, right? So all those 6 parameters are represented as x. So that is x. Now based on the value of x, whether he will go for playing water sport or not, that is the output y. So what we are trying to do is, by looking at 4 such cases in our training data, if you recollect, we had only 4 records. So this x is 6 parameter values which will define y. Y is the outcome, whether he will go to water sport or not. So if I'm trying to give a mathematical representation to the problem, my dear friends, now for 4 cases I know what is the output, but I want to generalize. I want to represent this y. I want to represent this y with a function, on x. So what is x? You know very well. So x is nothing but our instances, 6 parameters in our water sport example. So what I want to do is, by looking at this x and y, by looking at my training examples, I want to derive, or I want to induct, or I want to create f of x, which it's a mathematical representation, friends. So this is what is hypothesis. We are trying to create a function by looking at training data. So if I apply this f of x on x, I will get my y value. Means you give me values of 6 parameters. I will apply it on f of x, and I will tell whether my friend will go for whether my friend will go for playing water sport or not. So this is called as hypothesis. This f of x which I am trying to create is called as hypothesis. So if you remember, in candidate elimination algorithm, our f of x is nothing but, our f of x was something like this, my dear friends, right? Some question mark, first parameter, then warm, comma, question mark, dot dot dot. So I'm not writing it completely. So if you recollect, this kind of hypothesis we have generated, right? So this is called as hypothesis. Now the problem is, for every machine learning problem, right, do we get one hypothesis or many hypotheses? That is the question. That's the first question. So if you recollect, in candidate elimination algorithm, we have seen we have got multiple hypotheses also. Hypothesis itself is a target function. Hypothesis says that, okay, this is a function, it can be applied on data and it can predict properly. So hypothesis itself is our target function. But the point is, can we get only one hypothesis or multiple hypotheses? Yes, there is a chance of getting multiple hypotheses also, right? Fine. So what is hypothesis, my dear friends? Hypothesis. So hypothesis is the target function which describes the relation between the input variables and the outcome, right? Based on 6 parameters, decision will be made whether my friend will go for water sport or not. If you try to recollect, that is what was done. So we had 6 parameters and the last one was outcome. Yes means he will go for water sport. No means he will not go for water sport. So it is that it's a hypothesis is a target function which describes the relationship between input variables and the outcome, right? Now the problem is, for a given problem, for a given machine learning problem, right, especially in inductive learning, using inductive learning. Inductive learning means we all know very well now, just by looking at sample data, training data, we try to create a mathematical function which can be applied to test data or the data which you have not seen. So inductive learning is useful for prediction. Fine. So for a given ML problem using inductive learning, can we have single hypothesis or multiple hypotheses? Single hypothesis or multiple hypothesis? This is a question mark, right? Yes, there is a possibility of multiple hypothesis also. In candidate elimination algorithm, we have seen we have got multiple hypotheses. So the point here is, if you have multiple target functions, which one which one will be selected? This is an important point, my dear friends. If you have multiple target functions, if you have multiple hypotheses, which one will be selected? This is an important question. And answer to this question is bias, inductive bias. So answer to this question is bias. Since it is used in inductive learning, it is called as inductive bias. So what is inductive bias? It is a restriction on the hypothesis, right? Or it is the preference of one hypothesis. Bias is the preference of one hypothesis over another. So if you want to understand this bias in a simple terms, you have multiple solutions, multiple hypotheses. All hypotheses will work for your problem, and when you have multiple hypotheses, which one you will select? That is the question. And which one you will select, that will be decided by inductive bias, right? So for example, friends, I want to give you a simple example. Try to recollect our movie example problem which we have seen. Suppose um, there are four parameters: name of the producer, right? Name of the producer, name of the hero, name of the heroine, name of the director. And based on these four parameters, it will be decided whether you will go for a movie or not. Suppose if I wanted to generalize a hypothesis, or if I try to create a target function which will decide, right, which will tell or which will help me in predicting for a given combination of these four values whether you will go for a movie or not. So suppose in order to solve this problem, if I got multiple target functions, what should I do? Which one should be given more preference? Which one should be given less preference? So that point is called as bias. Means you here you will give importance to one hypothesis, then remaining hypothesis. Let us say you have six hypotheses, right? Only one you have to select. You will select only one hypothesis out of six. One target, so six target functions are there, only one you have to pick. And here what you will do is, there should be some reason, right? There should be some reason which will tell, like, okay, because of this reason, out of six functions, out of six possible target functions, I am picking the first one because of this reason. So that so-called reason is called as bias. So-called reason is called as bias. So bias is a important component in all machine learning algorithms. You will see the bias. So it is like it's a preference of one hypothesis over another, and inductive bias is very important. Right now, coming to, let me, where is my slide? So what is inductive bias? And now what is inductive bias in candidate elimination algorithm? What is inductive bias in decision tree? So these are the 2 points which we need to understand. So first of all, let me know whether inductive bias concept is clear or not. Inductive bias concept is clear to you or not? Inductive bias. What is inductive bias? This is important. If it is clear, then we will move on, or else we will discuss inductive bias, not a problem. Please let me know in the chat box. Inductive bias is clear or not? Yeah, please respond in the chat box. Inductive bias. Right. We will give another example also. 1 second. So bias is a restriction, or it is used to prefer one hypothesis from hypothesis space. Now this is another important word, friends. Hypothesis space is nothing but collection of hypotheses. Just now I told you, you got 6 hypotheses or 6 target functions. So collection of all possible hypotheses is called as hypothesis space. So from that hypothesis space, which one you want to pick, that is called as, that will be decided by bias. Now an important question, friends. Important question. Bias is also called as error. Error is also called as error. Now why it is called as error? Why it is called as error? I'll tell you why it is called as error. Bias is also called as error. Right? What kind of error is bias? Is it a error, first of all? If it is a error, why it is error? What do you mean by bias is also called as error? Right? Or you can say bias is a error. To be more specific, bias is a error. So you may ask me, sir, why bias is a error? If it is an error, what we will do to handle it? Bias is an error. Why bias is an error? Right? Bias is a error. Is an error, right? Bias is an error. Why bias is an error? For example, just now I told you, out of all possible target functions, which is nothing but hypothesis space, out of all target functions, I will pick, or I will select any one of them based on certain assumptions. Based on certain assumptions, I will select out of 6 possible target functions, out of 6 hypotheses, I'll pick one hypothesis. So based on certain assumptions, I'll select it. Now, to what extent these assumptions are correct, I don't know. So they can be incorrect also. So there can be incorrect assumptions. So based on incorrect assumptions, whenever I will select a particular hypothesis from the hypothesis space, obviously it can lead to error. So incorrect assumptions made while selecting a target function or a hypothesis from hypothesis space, right, is called as bias. So bias is important. Bias is the reason why you are selecting a particular hypothesis from hypothesis space. There should be a reason. That reason is called as bias, right? But to what extent your assumption is correct, the reason which you mentioned is correct or not, that if it is not correct, then what do you mean by that? So if you make some incorrect assumptions while picking a particular hypothesis of out of all possible hypotheses, when you pick only one, and if you make some incorrect assumptions, that is called as bias, right? So I'll give you another example. Why I'm spending a lot of time on bias is very important. It's very important. That's the reason I'm spending a lot of time. I'll give a very simple example. Even if till now, if at all you have any confusions with the word bias, you can understand what is bias with this example. Suppose if I am chairman of selection committee, right, which will select the players, Indian cricket team, let us say, right? Now I need to, let us assume, I hope you people are very much aware of Indian cricket, right? So let us assume our opening batsmen are Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan. Our opening batsmen are Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan. Let us assume Indian cricket team has went to another country for a tournament. Let us say they might have went to Australia, right, for a tournament. Now, generally, when we go for a tournament, especially when we go overseas, we will definitely take some backup players, right? So suppose if two people will open the batting, what I do is, in general, I'll have a six or say eight people in as my opening batsmen. So I have specialist opening batsmen as the backup. Now let us assume, friends, my openers Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan are right hand and left hand batsmen respectively. Now let us assume that Shikhar Dhawan has got injured in the first game, and in the second game I need to replace Shikhar Dhawan with another batsman. Now whom do I pick? I have backup, right? I have backup of wicket keepers. I have backup of my opening batsmen. I have backup of my bowlers also. But from whom I will pick the replacement? Obviously from the opening batsmen, right? So what is my hypothesis space, right? Opening batsman Shikhar Dhawan should be replaced with a batsman, right? That two opening batsmen, not a wicket keeper, not a bowler. So I have, let us assume, I have backup of 12 people, but out of these 12 players, only 4 are opening batsmen. So what is my hypothesis space? My hypothesis space is four batsmen, four opening batsmen I have, right? Let us assume these four people are I'll write some names. Prithvi Shaw, right, my backup opening batsmen, right? And another one is some Raina, another one is some names was KL Rahul, right? And another one is some XYZ. Now let us assume I have four opening batsmen, reserve opening batsmen with me. Now I need to pick any one of them. Now you tell me, whom do I pick? You tell me, whom do I pick? Please tell me, whom do I pick? KL. Don't give answers based on your choice. Suppose if you like KL Rahul, so you prefer KL Rahul. It is not your what we say. This is not an emotional thing, right? So all four are opening batsmen only. So here comes the concept of bias. So all four are eligible because all four are opening batsmen. That's the reason you have taken them to Australia. And H naught says, sir, I will go with KL Rahul. Then H naught should say, why KL Rahul? No, nobody else is responding. 5114 says experience. Okay. Hmm. H naught, why you are specifically saying KL Rahul? Is it because of experience? Good inform, good informed batsman. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you are talking about current scenario, right? All can be taken into consideration. That's the reason hypothesis space. Suppose I have 12 backup players, sir, right? Out of them, two are wicketkeeper batsmen. Remaining maybe six are remaining four are bowlers, right? And two are some other players like spinners. Out of 10 backup players, four I am shortlisting because they are opening batsmen. So all can be taken into consideration. That's the reason hypothesis space came. So I have considered all opening batsmen. So I got four. Now tomorrow, whom do I play? Right. So here, listen carefully. I'll tell you. I can prefer Prithvi Shah. I'll tell you. Like I'll tell you. I'll try to justify. Like all people have got equal importance. I can go with Prithvi Shah because he's a very aggressive player, and suppose if he clicks, no, definitely we will win that game. So this is based on his strike rate. I can prefer Prithvi Shah. Okay, this is the reason why I can prefer Prithvi Shah. Now, second one, who is that? Suresh Raina. Maybe, of course, he's very old player. Now, I can prefer Suresh Raina because Suresh Raina is a very senior player. Lot of experience is there, and and he is a left-hand batsman. So that combination of right and left will be difficult for the bowlers to adjust, and probably Raina is a good choice. So I have another option. So Raina is also a good option. As someone told, KL Rahul's recent form is really good. And if KL Rahul is used, KL Rahul can also act as a backup wicket keeper, right? So that is one reason. And by seeing his current form, KL Rahul can also be preferred. And why I have written this XYZ means this fellow is a new player. This XYZ is a new player. This XYZ is a new player. And since he is, if he got selected for Indian cricket team, a new player got selected to Indian cricket team means definitely his recent performance was really good, right? So that's the reason he was picked. Now, instead of going with KL Rahul, Suresh Raina, or Prithvi Shah, I can introduce XYZ, a new player, right? Because these Australian bowlers have seen Raina, have seen KL Rahul, they have seen Prithvi Shah also. So they know the strengths and weaknesses of these three batsmen, right? And I may think like this, okay, why don't I give importance to this new player? Why don't I give a priority to this new player? Because he is like a surprise to Australian bowlers. So like that, I can go for XYZ also. So friends, please try to understand when I say hypothesis space, I am representing all possible options. From that hypothesis space, I need to pick one hypothesis, right? So here I have in the hypothesis space four players. I need to pick one. Means all four are eligible. That's the headache. All four are eligible. All four target functions work or will predict my problem, right? All four are eligible, but which solution? I have four solutions to the problem. Which one I should pick? So here, if I try to relate this inductive bias to our example of cricket game, right? On what basis I am picking XYZ? Let us say I have finally decided to go with XYZ. So on what basis I have went with XYZ? XYZ is considered to be a surprise to the opposition, and his recent form is very, very good. That's the reason he was picked. So these Australians have never seen XYZ. They don't know what are the strengths and weaknesses of this XYZ, and he is a surprise pack, so he will be introduced. Like that, I have made a decision. Or else, let us say I thought right and left combination will be good, and I picked Raina. Now, suppose I picked Raina only because he is left-hand batsman and he has got lot of experience. Just imagine what is the guarantee that Raina will play perfectly or Raina will really perform well in tomorrow's game? What is the guarantee? There is no guarantee. If Raina fails, then don't you tell that my assumption was incorrect. Are you getting the point? So I made an incorrect assumption. So bias will come into picture when you have multiple hypotheses and you want to pick one, and while picking one there should be some reason, and that reason will be an assumption. That reason will be assumption, and assumption can be incorrect also, right? So whatever assumptions we make while selecting a hypothesis, right, out of set of hypotheses, or you can say while selecting one hypothesis from the hypothesis space, you have to make some assumptions. Those assumptions, or that particular assumption, is called as bias, and if this assumption is incorrect, then bias will become an error, right? I thought right and left combination will be good. I allowed Raina to play the game, and Raina did not perform well. So my assumption of right and left combination failed. So it costed me, right? So similarly, if my assumptions, if that bias can lead to an error, because bias itself is an assumption, and if that assumption is incorrect, it can lead to error. But bias will be there, because when we are talking about these machine learning, inductive learning problems, definitely we will come across multiple hypotheses. In candidate elimination algorithm, we got around 5 different hypotheses in our previous problem which we have solved in candidate elimination algorithm. Out of 5, which one I should pick, right? Again, it's a question mark, so bias will come there. Similarly, in decision tree also, right? Now the bias is clear. I hope now the bias is clear to everyone. The word bias, inductive bias, is clear to everyone. Please respond in the chat box, please. I hope inductive bias is now clear to everyone. Yeah, fine. So, right. Now, friends, now the point is inductive bias is clear. Now, inductive bias in candidate elimination algorithm, what should be the inductive bias, and what is the inductive bias in decision tree? Now, if you try to recollect decision tree problem which we have solved recently in our previous class, how many trees we got? How many trees we got? Finally, what was our output? One single decision tree or multiple trees? How many trees we got? We got only one decision tree. We got only one decision tree. So if you get only one hypothesis, then there is no question. There is no question of bias, no problem. But the example which we have seen, right? In that example, only one decision tree we got. But there can be multiple decision trees possible for a given problem, right? Why outlook became the root, sir? Can anybody tell? in our decision tree example, why Outlook became the root element? Can you recollect why Outlook became the root element? It was higher value. Which value? Information gain. Information gain, maximum information gain. Great. So just imagine if information gain for Outlook as well as some other parameter, let us say temperature. If both attributes have got the same information gain, what you will do? Luckily, in our previous problem, we did not get that. So we got one tree. Suppose if information gain was same for two attributes, what you will do? If two attributes have got the same information gain, actually this should be a doubt from your side. When we were solving the problem, when I told you like, okay, information gain for Outlook was maximum, so it became root. Yeah, B5, you are absolutely correct. So if two attributes have got same information gain, then you can construct two different trees, right? So suppose if Outlook and temperature got same information gain, so by making Outlook as root, you can construct one tree, and by making temperature as root, you can construct another tree. Similarly, if I get information gain as same for three attributes, then I can get even three trees also. So finally, I may get three or four decision trees. Then what should I do? On what basis I should pick? Which decision tree I should select? Got the point? So the word bias will come into picture. Is it clear? So now coming to this particular slide, yeah. What is inductive bias? I hope it is clear to everyone. Now, bias is nothing but the as an initial assumption which we are making to pick one hypothesis from all possible hypotheses. So that is our hypothesis space, you can say. So inductive bias. Now, what is inductive bias in candidate elimination algorithm? What is inductive bias in decision tree? These are the two important questions which we need to address, right? So, see here, inductive bias in candidate elimination algorithm. So what is the inductive bias in candidate elimination algorithm? If you try to recollect, we got 5 or 6 different hypotheses for water sport example, right? If you recollect, we got when we were constructing that most specific hypothesis and most generic hypothesis, when we were moving from top to bottom, bottom to top, finally we got 5 different hypothesis, right? So the hypothesis space is 5. Now what is bias in this algorithm? What is the bias here? What should I do? So which one I should select out of 5? Which one I should select? That is the question. So what we will do is, right, what we will do is, we will in candidate elimination algorithm, we will select, right? What we will do is, we will take the test data, we will try to apply that on all possible 5 hypotheses, and we will see which one is giving the most accurate prediction, and that will be selected. So that is what is the inductive bias in candidate elimination algorithm. Similarly, in decision tree, what will be the bias? So what is the problem in decision tree? Let us say you got 4 decision trees for same problem. So can we get 4 decision trees for same problem? Can we get multiple decision trees for same problem? Yes, we can. Right? Just now I gave you an example. If information gain for 2 attributes is same, I can't have 2 root elements. So I should construct 2 separate trees. So if I continue construction of 2 decision trees because 2 attributes have got the same information gain, obviously I'll get 2 different trees. Now, out of 2 trees or 3 decision trees or 4 decision trees, which one you will pick? That is bias. So, on what basis you will pick in decision trees, right? The in decision trees, what is the parameter based on which you will pick a tree? Out of 4, you have to select one. So, on what basis you will select? The reason for selecting a particular one out of all, right? Or out of 4 decision trees, which one you will select? What should be the reason? The reason is, out of 4 trees, whatever tree is shortest, that I should pick. Whatever tree is shortest, that particular tree will be. So bias, what is the bias here? So bias is, shortest tree is preferred over remaining trees, right? Just now I gave you examples of batsmen, right? XYZ is preferred over remaining 3 players because he will be a surprise package for my opposition. Or Raina will be preferred over remaining 3 because Raina is a left-handed batsman. Or I can say Prithvisha is preferred over remaining players because of his aggression and strike rate. Similarly, that is what is bias, my dear friends. Similarly, out of 4 decision trees, which one you will pick? So out of 4 decision trees, the one which is shortest tree is preferred over larger trees. The inductive bias for decision trees is nothing but the shortest tree is preferred. So what is the bias? You have multiple options, which one you will pick? That is the bias, right? The reason for picking a single hypothesis out of multiple hypotheses is called as bias. And your bias can be sometimes incorrect. Bias is an assumption and sometimes it can be incorrect. If it is incorrect assumption, it leads to error. Fine. So bias, shortest tree is preferred over larger trees in decision trees. So what is inductive bias in candidate elimination algorithm? Just test the test data with all hypotheses, 5 different you have. Which one is giving you maximum accuracy, that will be preferred. Similarly, in decision trees, just by looking at a tree, which one is shortest, that will be preferred over larger trees. So this is what is the meaning of inductive bias. Inductive bias. Now, before we move on, right? Before we wind up this unit, one more topic is there. The topic is issues in decision tree learning, right? So what are the issues in decision tree learning? What are the issues in decision tree learning? Can you predict what kind of issues can come in decision tree learning? What kind of issues can come in decision tree learning? Any guess? Issues in decision tree learning. So before we discuss issues in decision tree learning, we need to understand 2 important words. One is called as underfitting, another one is called as overfitting. What's the time? Oh, it's already 12:30. Okay, fine. So what is underfitting, what is overfitting, we will discuss. Then we will go to issues in decision tree learning, right? Before, without understanding overfitting, because overfitting is one issue in decision tree learning, friends. Overfitting is one issue in decision tree learning. So without understand errors, yeah, errors are always there, because H naught, not just H naught, to everyone I'm saying, errors means obviously there will be errors, because machine learning, right? Machine learning itself is used to solve non-deterministic problems. Non-deterministic problems are the problems for which there is no fixed solution. Does not exist any fixed solution. For example, if I hope you remember the difference between deterministic and non-deterministic problems, right? So roots of quadratic equation. How do I find roots of quadratic equation? There will be a standard formula. There will be a standard procedure to find roots of quadratic equation, right? Suppose similarly sorting of numbers. There is a standard algorithm. Apply it. It will work for every data set. It will work for every set of numbers, every array of numbers. They are deterministic problems. So there will be perfection. If it works, it will work for every input. If it does not work, it will not work. It will not work for any input. So that is deterministic problem. But in non-deterministic problem, we don't find any fixed solution for the problem, right? I gave you an example of identifying a dog in an image, right? It's very tough to write logic for such problems. They are all non-deterministic. So that's the reason we use machine learning, where we try to train the programs which are called as machine learning models. These models will will learn from training data, and then they try to work. Either it can be prediction, or it can be classification, or it can be regression, right? What are all the problems which machine learning can solve? That list also we will see before we start unit 2. So friends, obviously errors will be there. Machine learning algorithms are not 100% accurate. But apart from general word errors, what are the specific problems in decision tree learning? Even this itself can become one more question. So in order to understand the issues in decision tree learning, we have to understand overfitting. So there are two important points called as underfitting and overfitting, right? Again, underfitting and overfitting, these two words will come in our entire machine learning course. So underfitting and overfitting we will discuss in our next class. And once you understand overfitting, maybe in 10 to 15 minutes we can discuss issues in decision tree learning also, right? So once that issues in decision tree learning is done, our inductive bias we have seen today, issues in decision tree learning we will see in our next class, and unit 1 will be completed, right? So friends, give me 2 to 3 days time, or at least 2 days time. I can give you notes for unit 1, and in the next class, in tomorrow's class, after discussing issues in decision tree learning, we will start unit 2. So before we wind up, just tell me till now, whatever we have discussed today, is it clear or not? Please let me know. Are you following me or not? Now both are same. Difference between inductive bias and bias, both, see, as of now the word, as of now the word bias refers to inductive bias only. But in future when we discuss about some other machine learning algorithms, one more word bias will also come. But as of now, bias and inductive bias are same, right? So bias and inductive bias are same. uh, is it fine, B5? Right. So friends, in another couple of days I'll give you notes, and now we can leave. Thank you everyone.